Hey Taurus, this is EJ from Taurota Tarot. Hope you guys are having a good end to your weekend. Hope you're going to have a good start to your week. We are doing Taurus and Sagittarius sitting in a tree, Kissing. I'm going to do the enhanced version of this reading, so it means I'm going to do double cards. So we do 3 for the recent past, 3 for current energy, and 3 for future energy. As always, I will pull 2 for overall energy and 3 for guidance from the universe. And a reminder, I do my cards straight up. So our base cards are going to be the Psychic Tarot Oracle deck, and then I'll use the regular Simply Deep Tarot cards for the top layer. So, Taurus and Sagittarius, let's see what we got going on with the big cards. First, from the bottom of the deck, balance and spiritual union. I promise you, spiritual union and whatever other card I lay on top of it will make themselves known when we get to it. So from your recent past, we have the waiting game, movement, choices, and decisions. So all tools, people. Material and spiritual prosperity, that's a 6. For your current energy, victory and success. Your centerpiece card and your challenge is intuition and material harvest at the end of your current energy. And then for, these cards are so big, for your future energy, solitude, sacrifice, and hope. Yeah, let's see where this is going now. Let me pull all the cards and then I'll start talking, so I don't talk out of turn with nothing. These are shuffled enough. I always shuffle before I get on cam. All right. Let me pick these puppies up. I think I cut them up. Okay. So, Taurus with your Sagittarius from the bottom of the deck, the 3 of coins and the Emperor card on top of the spiritual union. So for your recent past, the Knight of Wands, the World card, and the Temperance card. For your current energy, 7 of Wands, 9 of Cups, and the Ace of Wands. For your future energy, the Solitude card, is the Fool card. For sacrifice, we got 7 of Cups. And for hope, we have strength. Ain't no mistakes here. That's for real. Okay, Taurus, so you see all this red. You know we ready to talk about Sagittarius. Your overall energy right now with your Sagittarius, or about your Sagittarius, or however you're dealing with this, is making plans. And that's sitting on top of the balance card. That's the front end of your energy, the back end of your energy, the spiritual union, and the Emperor card. So when I look at the front, balance, making plans. Some of you, this is your overall energy, Taurus. Some of you are in the energy of trying to find some balance. You realize you're working too much, you got too much other stuff going on, and you're trying to make some plans. For many of you, this is either a vacation, a staycation, or a real get on a boat, go somewhere kind of trip. And Taurus, good for you, because you are actually doing what your centerpiece card is and what your challenge card is, using your intuition. You kind of feel like it's time for you, 2 of you, to break away and do something together. The Emperor card here's got some significance because it's a major card, and figuring out what direction you really want to go in with your Sagittarius, Taurus, that's kind of lurking back there in the back of your head. This is not So this reading is not going to resonate for everybody, but this is one of those readings that is for a specific group of folk. So I'm going to say this is not for people that are married, or if you are married, you're newly married. This is probably for situation relationships that have been going on for probably less than 2 years. So you're in the routine of the relationship. Y'all know what your work hours and what time the other one goes to lunch and what time you should be texting and what time they should be home, what time they should be calling. You got the routine down pat. But some of you Taurus, I'm talking to you, y'all are feeling a little itchy and a little restless and a little bored. So it's time to choose a direction and something for the two of you to work on together. And you see down there it says spiritual union. That bottom card is about the spiritual union that you have with your partner. And in order to keep, I know this sounds hokey, but it is what it is, to keep your souls vibrant in the relationship. You've seen couples, old couples who walk around and, you know, they mirror each other, they act and sound like each other, but oh God, the whole way there's an arguing and fighting and fussing, and it doesn't feel like there's harmony. There may actually be harmony, but it doesn't feel that way when you get around that kind of energy. And a lot of times that's because there's nothing on the outside going on with them, and all they have is each other to pick with, and just it's a mess. So it is time, Taurus, for you to find a point that you and your partner can do something besides go to work and come home. It could be ballroom dancing, it could be playing poker, I don't know. But you need to find that thing. If you want to stay in this relationship, and I'm telling you stuff now you're probably not even thinking about, but if you really want to stay in this relationship and you feel like it has some good long-term potential, use your card. Put the figure out there to the wind. Which way should we go? Should we try horseback riding? No, you don't like horses. Whatever it is, volunteering is a bazillion things you can do, but it's that time. And Taurus, if your partner doesn't want to, you, to enrich your own soul, need to find something else to do besides sitting around the house making moo-moo faces to your partner. I'm just saying. I'm just throwing it out there. And I feel the energy is almost like you're not in a rut yet, but if you can see the signs, you know you're headed that way, because this is no variety or no change up into what's going on. With your past history with your Sagittarius, a lot of you had to play the waiting game, waiting on your Sag. And this is the Knight of Wands, and this is their energy, for a variety of reasons. Maybe they weren't ready. Maybe some of them were finishing up school. Maybe others were doing other things. But while you were waiting, at whatever point, this person, you did go through some changes. I'll just put it there. And they have grown up since you met them. With the movement and choices and decisions with the World card on top of that, that's telling me you've had to really tap into your knowledge base, Taurus, dealing with this relationship. For whatever reason, it might be a difference in age. One of you, and not in a traditional sense, the female may be older than the male. It can be vice versa. The male could be older than the female. But you, whatever it is, Taurus, it came out as energy you were not used to. And so you had the movement, choices, and decisions. You had to have the knowledge to do what you needed to do. It's to process this the way you wanted to process it and manifest it. And that is not a bad thing. That any of this went on is not a bad thing. From there, with the material and spiritual prosperity, when you brought it together, and the Temperance card on top, it was perfect. Everything was kind of in balance. Somewhere along the way, though, and this is not going to resonate with everybody either, but this is kind of a little undercurrent, a little backstory. When you get to your current energy, Taurus, you feel like you've had to do a lot of defending of your position in the relationship, whether it was exes trying to poke and prod at your partner, and get them to step outside of the relationship, whether for a minute, a day, or a year, however that's resonating. You got this energy on you now where you are literally defending your territory. And for some of you, it's okay, but most of you are not digging this, and I feel that to have all this extra energy coming in, that this is sitting underneath the waiting game and the Knight of Wands. This is telling me your partner has matured some, but not all the way. And here, that is laying on top of the victory and the success card. You really, I don't want to say you don't have anything to worry about, Taurus, but on the other hand, especially with the energy the way that it is now, I finally went and reread what I read the first time. There's 6 planets in retrograde motion. You don't want to jump to conclusions. When you're dealing with this kind of energy, when you're defending your territory, you don't want to jump to conclusions too quick until you know all the information you think you need to know to make any kind of statement about thus saith the bull. I'm just throwing that out there. So this is your current energy. Be careful with that. You don't want to just, I thought I heard you on the phone. No. You need to be factual. I saw, I did, I heard, not I thought, or somebody else told me. You need to be factual. If you can't verify it, then it didn't happen. Let it go. Let's move to the next card. Let me pull this one up and let's look at this. Your challenge. I'm not telling you not to follow your intuition. I'm saying, and this is your challenge card, about following your intuition so you can have that victory and success. But the only way you're going to have it is if you listen. When you get ready to get into any kind of, and there's something going on, Taurus. Let me clear this up for you. There's a little drip, drip, drip in the background. Now, it's not the faucet full on, it's not the shower, it's not flooding, it's just a drip. But you know, like I know, if you let enough water drip in a bucket, eventually it will get full. So, if something led you here and you've never been here before, first of all, welcome. Welcome to Tarota Tarot. But, number 2, that's telling me you're listening to your intuition. Something there is telling you something's not right and you need to figure out what it is. So, now, when it comes to your intuition, follow it. But if you can't prove it, don't start trying to defend shit you can't defend. Because the worst thing you can do is tell somebody, well, I thought I heard you or saw you. You're not trying to spend up your relationship currency on bullshit. I'm just saying. Because it could very well be something other than what you think. You are in Mercury retrograde. Miscommunication, misperception, misconception, all of it. So what I'm saying is, if you're going to feel like you need to defend something, if an ex called you or got a text message or a message on Facebook or Instagram, take a picture of it. You heard me? Now you got solid proof that somebody did something and you're not just up in your partner's face going, but she said, no, you got proof. Here, read this. I'm just saying, when you start having to feel like you need to start defending yourself in your territory, and some of you, like I said, have been doing this, and it's getting old. For those of you that this is newer energy, don't accuse anybody of anything unless you just know you got flat out, flat ass proof. That's there. If you've been, let me go back. If you've already been in a situation with your Sagittarius Taurus where you've kind of been offhandedly, on the phone again, making a text message again, y'all know what I'm saying. And you're assuming that if you're the female, the male is chit-chatting with another female, or if you're the male, the female is chatting with another guy. But do you know that for sure? And do you want to start World War III, come on now, on something you think, or would you rather just blow it up on something you know? This energy right now, I call it the ultimatum energy. This ain't the time to do ultimatums because people are already kind of jerky. The energy is not stable like it is ordinarily, particularly when you got planets sliding and skating around up in the sky. So this is not the time to be like, you know what? get your stuff and leave. If you don't mean that, don't say it. Because this is that energy where they will get up and leave. And you'll be like, well, damn, I was just playing. I thought, well, what happened? You're not trying to go there, Taurus. I'm just kicking this out there, the whole picture. So whatever part resonates with you, you have it. So again, if you're defending some shit, put out. Have proof. And don't be just throwing shit up on the wall to see if food gonna make pretty colors. Make sure you know what you're talking about. You will be successful with this relationship if you follow your intuition. That is your centerpiece card. That is your challenge for the next 4 weeks. Work on where is my intuition guiding you. And if you don't think about it and you just are sitting and you see something or you hear something, trigger something, y'all know how this works. Follow it. Let it take you where it's going to take you. Let me put the disclaimer in. I am not encouraging anyone to pick up anyone else's cell phone, cruise through it, hack anybody else's Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat page, looking for information. I am not saying that. However, if your intuition is saying you need to look at something or you need to just go walk over there, however it's resonating, do it. Because it will give you insight to things that you're looking for, and it'll give you a clearer picture than you just assuming that your partner is doing this, that, and the other. At the end of this material harvest card, the inspiration that you need, Taurus, to manifest this relationship may well lie in the fact that, because you're going from an ace to a 9, you may need to just look at your whole situation from a financial perspective. I know y'all like, where the hell did you get that from? And if you look at it from that perspective, you may see that you got some inspiration to work with. So therefore, a lot of you that are, for practical purposes, greater or lesser, kind of cohabitating where you're not at your place or their place a whole lot, but you are together a lot. You may need to look at where you're spending your money, and this could well be a doorway to the next level if that's where you are, and decide, okay, my lease is up in September, your lease is up in October, why don't we get a place? It's that kind of energy. When you do that, when you see there's a way that you can, what do I want to say, benefit the both of you materially, just saying, that too will give you the inspiration to put some fire back. It's a wine card. What did you want me to say? This is red. You get them finances together, and I mean literally together. And those of you that this is resonating with, you know what I'm saying. The inspiration for the spiritual union and figuring out what direction you need to go in will come to you. I know that sounds like you're putting the horse in front of the cart in front of the horse. No. Somebody said something to me really interesting a couple days ago about some people I know. And the person said, you know, even though you're not really dealing with their personal situations directly, that still has to take a toll on you as far as stress. You still have to be thinking about it and worrying about certain aspects. And I said, you know, I never really thought about it like that. It's very true, even though you may not be dealing with the fact that you both have an apartment, a house, whatever, but you doing this cross-pollination every couple of days. You know, you're going to hack over here and hack over there, and we'll be back over here on the weekend, and you bring the dog and I'll take the cat. There's energy there that's being wasted. And I know that sounds, like I said, I know that sounds crazy, but it's the truth. And for some of you, where you can see maybe some signs of something going off the rails, You know, while you're doing all this commuting back and forth, that those are times where those are loopholes. That's what we'll call them. For lack of anything else I can think of that makes sense. You have those loopholes. That's a good time for the ex to be calling and texting. While, you know, y'all are playing shuttle bus from one house to the other. Or, you know, one person has a car, the other person doesn't. And you are not really combining your energy and your resources. You're keeping it separate. I think the bigger piece of this is that if you want this relationship to go the distance, you need to make sure that you're doing the best for the relationship, and not just for you and not just for your Sagittarius. That's the best way I know how to put this energy in words. When you get to your future energy, yeah, your Sag is walking a thin line. That's what they're doing. This Fool card, they're literally walking a thin line. And this is future energy, and I'm just trying to go back over this. With the victory and success, it depends. There's a lot of different ways this can play out. If you feel like you're in a situation currently where you've got to defend who you are and why you are in a relationship, if you feel like right now, you're trying to rely on your intuition, usually when we start talking about relying on our intuition, that's usually a big red flag that you need to start paying attention to your intuition, because there's something going on that you need to be made aware of. When the universe starts sending you the actual message, you need to listen to your intuition. It's probably going to trigger somewhere in your brain, you know, I thought. Whatever comes after that word thought, fill in the blank. If you are not able to close all these little loopholes, it's going to cause a problem. It's going to cause a problem. That's the best way I know how to put this. There's a lot of different energy at play. There may be a variety of people at play. I would say I would hold on at least until you get through this Mercury retrograde. I feel like the energy, by the time you get into the first week of August, it feels like the energy will have cleared enough where you can see where your inspiration is coming from, where if there are any loopholes financially you guys need to close up so you can have time to go put your finger in the wind and say, oh, we're going skiing over here. And that's the kind of energy you need to have. You need to have that. You need to have that kind of balance in your relationship. You need to do something together and get out of that routine. The routine is creating a problem over here. I don't think it's a problem that's going to be ongoing if it's dealt with appropriately. And again, I'm going to tell you, if you feel like, even if you see something, let's say you see a text message, however you figured that out, I don't know. But let's just say you saw a text message, oh, boo-boo, you're so cute. Okay, see it, make a note of it, shut your mouth. Watch the behavior. When you feel like, when your intuition is telling you, okay, it's time to kick in. But don't be standing up here, you're doing this already. But be careful that you're not doing it too much. That's how that goes. Future energy, that's a major card. Your partner is trying to walk this thin line. Because if there's someone in the background trying to get to them, you know, and if they're not strong in this relationship with you, Taurus, come on now. That's where you're going to end up. And that solitude sitting underneath this is not giving me good feelings. It just isn't. Unless you, Taurus, and more about the Sagittarius being left on their own. About choices and the sacrifices that have to be made. So if you decide, Taurus, that whatever you thought was smoke really was just little puffs of air and there was no fire, but you have other choices. Some of you may have some other choices to think about the sacrifice on either end. If you stay in a relationship with the Sagittarius, there's a little piece of trust, not bigger than a grain of salt. But if you find out that there's something extra going on in the background, that little grain of not trust, let's call it not trust, can fuck up a whole vat of soup. I'm just saying. So, you may have options in the future, or you may decide to stay with your Sagittarius. Realize what you're sacrificing to do either. I'm just saying, because that energy is there. And again, this is not going to resonate with everybody, but if you decide to stay with your Sagittarius and you find out there's been some other shit going on, what are you sacrificing? Are you sacrificing some part of your emotional health? Or are you at peace with what you're doing? If you decide to get out and kick it with somebody else, what's the sacrifice? That's all it's really telling you about your options and knowing what you're sacrificing to keep or give up, however it's resonating with you. At the end of your future energy, you got the Strength card sitting on the Hope card. And let's just talk about hope. You need some strength to have some hope. I'm just here to tell you. The faith and hope, because I can't ever seem to separate the two. To have faith and hope, it's hard to walk on trust, especially if somebody put a little grain of not trust in your shit. That takes strength. It also takes the hope in knowing that it won't happen again. You're just throwing all this shit, sticking it up on the wall. If I'm just looking at the board for what it is, it's a pretty straightforward reading. There's a lot of little pops of fire here, a lot of little energy. There's also a lot of little pops of fire and energy in the background with these cards that are laying directly on the table. So I would be mindful of that. Again, your challenge towards is really to give in enough to follow your intuition. Give in enough to yourself to trust yourself that if yourself tells you you might want to pay attention, that you're paying attention. It's just that simple. And I know it's not always easy, especially if you're not used to doing it, but it is very clear your success is going to come because you're listening and you're paying attention to the subtle signs and you're following your intuition. You're not just jumping out. And if you need to do this truly, if you feel like you really need to defend your turf, your territory, your man, your woman, however it's resonating, do it. But again, make sure you're doing it for the right reasons. If you're accusing somebody of something, make sure you have facts and not guesstimony and shit. I'm just saying, that guest testimony type, no. You need to have facts. You need to have straight ass facts. That's going to save you in the long run. Let's see what the universe has for guidance for you, Taurus. Triumph, fulfillment of wishes, and mental conflict. So it looks like you can be triumphant. Oh geez, I don't know what I was going to say. You can have some victory in this, in the fulfillment of your wishes. That the fulfillment of wishes is laying in the same row with the intuition card. I'm just knowing this is not going to happen if you aren't paying attention to your intuition, Taurus. That's really the bottom line. I think if you rely on you and yourself, the things that you need to come to the forefront will, if your partner hasn't told you already. But if you are just relying on some other bullshit, it's going to cause a problem and your wishes will not be fulfilled. When you get to your current energy, mental conflict, choices, again, dealing with that little grain of not truth. How are you going to process that? Do you have the strength keep the faith and hope for the best. That's in this relationship or the next one. I'm just saying. So the mental conflict, you will definitely encounter some of this just because of what's going on, particularly where sacrifice is concerned, and making sure that you're making a good decision not only for you, but for your relationship too. And sometimes the best decision for a relationship is to shut it down. A lot of people don't look at it that way, but sometimes that's the best decision you can make, because if you can see where it's just going to be a toxic, non-stop, back and forth bullshit thing, best thing you do might be to let it go. All right, ask your spirit helpers. It's not personal. Oh, my little cards are funny. Yeah. Intuition. Ask your spirit helpers. They'll be more than happy to help you feel your intuition or see your intuition, however that resonates with you. You got them. Ask the angels. Tell them you need help. They'll be more than happy to. Ask the universe. Just when you wake up in the morning, show me what I need to see and let it go, and let your intuition carry you from there. It can happen. It's not personal. And it isn't. It isn't. Some of the things that are going on around you now, Taurus, as it relates to your relationship, is really not personal. It's really about people being messy and not having all their shit cleared up before they jump into the next little hoo-ha thing. Or even if they did wait enough time, they still got extra little drama, baby mama, ex crap going on. It's not personal. Not about you, Taurus. This is about the Sagittarius and them handling their issue and their business the way they need to. There's some red flags there, Taurus, so you may want to do some journaling. We're still in Mercury retrograde until July 31st. I don't think we actually get out of the energy until August 8th. There's somebody roaming around out there. I don't know if it's Saturn or Jupiter. They're due to station August 11th. So that'll just leave 3 other planets, Pluto, Neptune, and I think Chiron. I'm not sure, but that'll only leave 3 other planets in retrograde, which you'll feel the relief the minute Mercury stations, and the minute what did I say, Jupiter on the 11th, I think, stations. You'll feel it immediately, because you feel like you've been just bouncing your head from one wall to the other. It's all this retrograde energy. And that's why I'm telling you to be so careful when you're defending your territory or yourself or whatever discussions that come up. Be careful you don't throw that ultimatum in there. And just make sure you're being factual. And no, it's not personal. This is just a thing where some people don't understand anything about closure. And I'm not a big fan of the word closure, but a lot of times before you get out or get into another relationship, there are things you may need to deal with in a past relationship. A lot of people don't do that. I know there are times, especially when you're dealing with baby mama, baby daddy drama, people like to kick up chaos and confusion the minute the new person shows up on the scene. So it could be either one of those energies. But at any rate, just leave the ultimatums off the table. Don't even try to go there. Work through this energy as best you can. Realize it's not about you, it's about them. For others of you, it may not be necessarily any kind of relationship. It may be just an ex who has suddenly come to their senses in the middle of a Mercury retrograde and decided they want your partner back. I'm just saying, it can be that. And it can be a lot of variations of that. If that's the kind of energy, just know it's not about you, Taurus. It's not personal. I love you guys. I'm going to leave this reading right here. I hope you guys have a good pop off to the end of the weekend and a good start to your week. I love you. Talk to you soon. Bye, y'all.